Starting on the CT side of Nuke, an opportunity to really assert themselves with Ancient potentially on the cards. A map that HUMMER really don't play as a decider. If they can get this one over the line, Dean, we might be into a winner here, but it's going to be early util from the T side as they look to push straight into that A site, and they're going to get it for free.
Yeah, I mean, there will be some fights immediately afterwards in towards the lobby as the bomb is getting planted, but as you said, the bomb site itself goes down without any sort of resistance. Sprout seem happy to play the retake, and maybe it's the right call. lauNX already taken himself 2 quick kills. They have one more player up close in the hut that they just need to at least trade, but that late flank from Showtime just not expected. He's able to pick off one, and with that, take the attention and leave it all onto raalz, who does have a kit at least to work with. Problem is now, he's got another player up close in the smoke, and yeah, as you said, couldn't actually find the bomb, even get the tap on it to try and see if he could bait it out or even stick it at that point. I don't think he could have stuck it either way, considering the smoke was just barely covering the edge of the bomb itself. But a pistol round that goes the way of HUMMER. Oh, Jesus.
Okay, yeah, I can start to see why Sprout might be feeling a little bit of frustration, Dean. That's a drive-by if I've ever seen one.
His name's very fitting for moments like that.
Yeah, it does. He brings the show to us, doesn't he? Unfortunate for raalz that smoke just goes a little too deep. Would have given him away if he'd gone for the ninja. Another fast play to be called here by the T side. delboNi very swiftly down those vents. No real resistance. Spitty not quite in position just yet, and just hoping to cause some havoc here against the force by is delboNi. He's managed to get down into the lower site. Staehr has managed to at least invest into a 4A1S here, and I'm not sure that'll necessarily be expected. Otherwise, it's deagles and scouts. A little bit of magic to get at least one rifle out. Have to imagine that came from lauNX, though, with the amount of kills that he managed to get in the pistol. And it is going to be Staehr put under pressure here. Showtime looking the wrong way. Will give his life away freely. ZQK is there for the trade, however. And this is where delboNi's role really comes into its own. He can cut any immediate rotations down. But instead, the CT side have gone through the ramp. And that's given them 3 players in towards this lower site before the hit has come through. Need to see a little bit of that mid-round calling again from HUMMER here. If they don't realize this, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. There is numerous bodies for the CT side down towards this lower site.
Yeah, they've got the numbers. They had a molly that they could put down in towards dark. That would be perfect. And, well, they did have a molly. Unfortunately, it's not going to be put towards dark. lauNX not able to do anything from his angle. And raalz actually only comes away with 1. As I believe a flying M4 den was what managed to deal with him. Oh, he actually catches the bomb planter. Okay. An extra kill at least. Taking 1 more to the grave alongside himself. 3 kills overall for Sprout. It's not a terrible force buy. They do some damage at least, but it is still going to be HUMMER's round. They take their second. They'll have a third to come alongside of it. Unless we see some sort of crazy force buy from Sprout, which I wouldn't expect to come in at this point. But still, it's going to be the 3-0 T-side start for HUMMER after already having such a successful Dust 2. If Sprout can't come alive in that first gun round, then they're going to be in a lot of trouble. I like this, though. You don't often see everyone pushing ramp, and, well, it's literally everyone. Okay.
They've got a 2-for-1 as well. This could get ugly. The AKs need to recover, and they just about managed to. For a split second there, that looked very violent, and considering how little they brought into the round, to get that kind of perfect counter, to find yourselves 3 kills is fantastic. It'll be a heavy reinvestment. T-side having to buy up near enough everything again. Not the ideal situation, to say the least. And as Sprout do manage to pull out the kitchen sink in terms of firepower, opportunity for an early reset here. A chance to really take it. Put the pressure straight back onto HUMMER after a disappointing first map. And, well, Showtime looking for a little more magic, charging outside. Staehr has set himself up with the one-way, though, and Showtime not quite pre-firing it correctly will be punished. Early man advantage, exactly what Sprout needed in this one, and make it 2 as he deals with ckzao over the top of that one-way as well.
Barely able to see them myself, but apparently Staehr has the eyesight of a god. Oh, this could be a bit of a problem. yeah, will push forward, look to find a little bit more in towards ramp itself, and slaxz offers himself up, basically. Unfortunately, denoco doesn't get the second kill out of it. That really was what he was aiming for. So the fact that the trade at least comes in does keep Sprout in with a decent shot of winning this round. And although it's going to be lauNX who goes down, he gave the extra few seconds, as you can see, for these rotations to come in. So damage here already being done. That bomb carrier goes down, leaving it all on delboNi. Currently sitting at 6-0. He's had a flawless game so far. It's still early days, but he's looking to keep it up. The timing, though, doesn't work in his favor. Staehr just about manages to catch him as he comes around the corner, gets himself a triple kill overall after the 2 initial entries he found towards outside, and with that, Sprout find an incredibly important round.
Big round to find, as you said, a real important one for Sprout. They'll be aware that the economy, they've seen it get away from them. It happened on Dust 2. They knew they needed to start stabilizing early. And you can see what it's done to the economy over on that T side of things as well. HUMMER down to a menagerie of pistols. Lone Galil in the hands of Showtime. Hoping for a little bit of magic. An awkward first fight from denoco as well. Goes down low. Staehr does take some damage in response, but not a great early entry, especially against those MP9s on the angles. denoco now 2 bullets from death. Shouldn't be too difficult to deal with on this A-pop. Staehr gets one. denoco will find the trade, but there's 2 more players waiting, or is there? Showtime, clean headshot. Leaves just raalz on this upper side, doing all he can from behind T-Vent. Will be traded out again, though, and the aggression from lauNX needs to find a kill here. ckzao isolated. The dink onto delboNi, converted with the USP, keeps the team in it. lauNX is trying to drag Sprout, kicking and screaming back into this round, and it's left Showtime 1v2 to contend with. Minute left on the clock. Does have bomb on his back, and the CTs don't seem too keen on moving just yet. They've got their crossfire established. Showtime is 1 shot from death by that scout as he gets this bomb down. Needs to be a clean headshot for the first kill here. Can't afford any less than that. Tucks himself in close to hut. lauNX shouldering it for now, waiting for any aggression that's not to come. They'll group up on this CT side. slaxz switching to the pistol will bait his teammate in. There's the first. It's rough, though, and lauNX is there immediately. Clean trading. Nice work by Sprout to get themselves back into that one. A little bit of magic from lauNX keeps the hopes alive.
Yeah, as you said, fantastic work towards the door especially, and then just ensuring that they work together in for that trade. The reason that he needed the headshot actually in the end was just because he wasn't able to get the spray transfer, not even because of the low health. A close round once again. It's not like any of these have been easy so far, and I think because of that, Sprout themselves have decided that they still need to call this pause. The reinvestment is going to cost them literally everything, and having a look at the 2 economies, they're pretty on par, to be honest. Obviously a little bit more in the bank overall for Sprout, especially with the weapon that they saved over, but there's still enough for the force bite to come in for HUMMER, and with 5 Galils, with a few nades as well to back it up, they definitely have a shot of potentially stealing this one away, and with that, breaking Sprout down completely. And now that they've taken a couple rounds in a row also, and the loss bonus has gone back down, they would be in a lot of trouble if that was to happen.
A lot of trouble feels like an understatement. Sprout aware have gone heavy into this round. Plenty of utility invested. Fast A hit to be called, though, and it's an isolated fight for the MP9 on site. denoco gets one, but the trades are good. slaxz isolated up in towards heaven. Can't get the shot to connect. That'll be a bomb plant as well. 3 on 4. A big decision to be made now for this CT side. They don't know how much damage has realistically been done on anyone. They don't know what the situation is inside of the site. And they don't know how they can get into it either. They are going to have to retreat, just like you said, Dean. That is another fantastic call by HUMMER. They'll be aware that the economy of Sprout is on the ropes. They call the fast A-pop. They get the 2 kills they need to get into that site. And then immediately, Sprout can't afford to be throwing the rifles at it. They needed more kills out of their site anchors. That doesn't come through. Well, it's a free 4th round for HUMMER.
I mean, at least the op's been saved over and some rifles, but they only get 1900, I believe, on the side of Sprout. So in terms of the force play that comes in around it now, it's not going to be very good. Maybe 1 rifle can be dropped by slaxz if he wants to give over an M4, but not an M4 of a mass. But other than that, SMG maybe then for the remaining player that needs a weapon. 4-2. HUMMER managed to bounce back after a couple of rounds that were pretty bumpy for them. But the important thing was they kept the pressure on the entire time. And now that they've taken a round, they're not letting the pressure ease off either. They're actually calling in a pause of their own, realizing how important this round is, because Sprout have a chance to swing back and potentially do the same thing to them. And obviously they do not want to let that happen. They'd like to take the 5-2 lead off the back of it, probably a 6-2. And they know that the chance is there.
Trading blows at the moment. Everyone's swinging, and it's just a matter of who connects better. As you said, both teams incredibly aware of how important these next few rounds may be for their halves, for Sprout, for their hope in this series. Taking the time, calling the shots. Door broken. Fast pop to be called again. They're going to go straight back into this A site. This time raalz is up for the task, doubles up inside of the site, and that may tempt the retake here. Last time it was 4-on-3. This time it's evens. Utility still available for now for the T side as that bomb goes down. Not the greatest plant in the world, though. Going to need to leave some bodies inside of the site itself. Smoke to get out of heaven is thrown. No more smokes available for this T side either, so they're just going to have to hold it. Straight fights to be won here for this T side, and you can see Sprout are thinking about it. lauNX in from heaven. Staehr to join him, but that Molotov is perfectly timed. Buys another 10 seconds. And that's the 10 seconds that slaxz isn't sure about. He wants to pop flash his teammate in, but that means he's disconnected from the attack. lauNX doesn't want it. Backing away. The time has been bought courtesy of the recovered utility. It will be a 5th round on the board. A 3-man save should mean another buy in the bag, but it's a 5th round on the T side of Nuke for HUMMER Esports, who are looking better and better. They're growing into this series as it goes. And as you start to look over at the economy of Sprout, it's going to be another complete breaking point round.
All of these kind of half saves where they have 2 rifles and maybe a weaker weapon then as well being saved over, it might actually be working against Sprout, because they keep on having to buy around it with the weaker weapons again coming in. It's just somewhat spiraling things out of control. I'll have to say, I mean, this is still a pretty solid buy. They have good utility, importantly, behind it as well, so there is a shot here for Sprout, but it's now or never, really. Otherwise, it's going to be completely out of control. It would be 7 on the T side, most likely, for HUMMER already if they were to win out this one, and well, considering this is Nuke, that would be a pretty good foundation of a T side with a chance to put even more, to build more on top of it. Bit of a slower round from HUMMER, considering how the pace of the last couple gun rounds have gone.
I think hoping that after repeatedly winning and forcing saves, there'll be less utility and they can bleed it out in these early moments. Done a decent job. Still a couple of good-sized belts available, though, for the CT side. And lauNX is going to be put under pressure down towards this ramp. It's held strong so far. Hasn't really had a lot to do. Heavy on the retakes, but this time the pressure is going to come in towards that ramp. Molotov is good. Isolates the fight. slaxz sticks inside of the flames to find the first, but he's lost his teammate in amongst it. And they're wallbanging slaxz down as well. Half HP for the AWP as the lower side pop starts to come through. There are bodies here. There are numerous bodies here. It's going to be on the timings of Spiddy. That's a big fight to win. 7 HP, but he stays alive. Deals with the flank. And you can see how insecure HUMMER are with this site. They don't know what's coming. ckzao, that's a big kill. Opens things up and actually gives denoco a route to a plant. They know where Staehr is, courtesy of the spam. So as that bomb goes down, they've at least bought themselves safety for now. Even 3-3 again on this retake. This time there's no mollies, there's no smokes, there's nothing to stop Sprout having a crack at this. ckzao and delboNi both holding for Staehr. They know where he is. They want this fight, and Staehr's got the angle on it. Wins the fight straight up. Big kill found. ckzao now isolated behind the silo, just trying to stay alive, but it's Staehr with the wallbang who deals with him. ckzao last up. Bomb is planted for him with these double doors, but he's got the AWP against 3. It's not a fight he'll fancy, and with a first missed shot, that will be the defuse coming through. It will be a 3rd round on the board. And look what it's doing to the economy. There'll be one more buy in this for HUMMER, then it's breaking point once again.
Yeah, thankfully they got the bomb plant there, actually. Otherwise, ckzao's economy would have been a bit rough, and then a few players would have maybe been lacking nades with the rifles coming out. So getting that down does ensure that they have everything they could ask for and that they can again keep the pressure on. But that was a relatively clean round from Sprout. So finally they have a gun round where there's not a FAMAS and an MP9 alongside a few rifles. They even have an op for themselves alongside all nades. So a chance to stabilize things here on the CT side if they can take this one. Take it cleanly as well. Then they'd have an eco to go against where they could really build that economy. Slightly deeper smokes. They actually want to push up and get the garage control here, I believe. Although, not too sure. Denoco could have went towards Secret, but yeah, he wants to catch the timing into garage, and this might work out. The problem is he's already taken a ton of spam damage.
He's desperately low on health, and that's going to cause problems. Even a half-hearted clear will deal with him. Rest of the team seem to be keen on taking Secret, however. Staehr takes a lot of damage, but he gets it, and this is where Denoco's low HP just plays into his hands. Able to shift it, gets the second kill, early 3-on-5. Presence in towards this lower site as well in the form of lauNX. Unexpected, gets the freebie, spots out Showtime. The spray's awkward, but the damage is done regardless. 2v4, make it 2v3. delboNi finds a nice shot for 1. The problem is, again, there's nowhere safe to really look to get that bomb down. Showtime and delboNi not even keen on committing to that B site just yet. And oh, raalz, what? Straight off the ladder, Showtime finds the headshot of a lifetime. He's had a few of those in this map so far, and that'll be bombed down. Even 2-on-2, slaxz and Staehr. An AWP and an AK on the retake. Less than ideal, but delboNi is a long way from home. If they can deal with Showtime, if they can get into this site early on, there is not really anybody here to defend it for the T side. Timing is everything, though. delboNi spotted. There's the first body. Now, where's Showtime? Missed shot from Staehr. Not used to yielding that big green as they start to push into this site. Flashes come in to try and counter. Bomb already a long way tick. The molly will force delboNi back. Showtime low on HP. Staehr's going to stick it, hoping to catch the timing. The bomb's already a long way gone, and he'll get it with the smoker's cover. A fourth round, a miracle round, you have to say. Ripped out the back pocket by Sprout.
Yeah, that was HUMMER smoke as well, wasn't it?
Must have been to put out the Molotov.
Yeah, but it wasn't really even that long left on it. They probably would have been better waiting out the extra 3 or 4 seconds. They might have actually had a shot at stopping the bomb plant then. Although if the smoke wasn't put there, I don't think they would have planted on that side of the silo. So either way, I'm not sure if it was all that winnable of a position, but a little bit unfortunate. On the other hand, Sprout, they're going to be feeling pretty good. Now they have, as we said, a shot to really get things going here. The 5th round should be theirs unless they managed to, of course, fault against these deagles and the AK. Definitely weapons that can cause some damage if you slip up. Oh, dropping off the hood. There we go. I'm surprised delboNi pushed out, and I'm kind of surprised he didn't hear the drop down as he was starting to actually do so.
Gotta imagine there was some kind of comms or something coming in through his ears. Couldn't quite catch the sound cue, and from here it should be relatively smooth sailing. ZQK, a nice little drop to get 1. But again, the trades are solid. Spitty just farming away. Nothing that the Deagles can do. Smooth as you like. We're 5 all leveled out here. The only thing you have to say is that 5 is a pretty decent T side on Nuke, to say the least. I don't think HUMMER are going to be disappointed. They'll hope they can get a little more because they've looked solid. I don't think they're going to be disappointed with the 5 that they've got so far at all.
I think if Sprout came away with 10-5, they'd actually be feeling pretty good about themselves. I think HUMMER would want at least one more round. Because 10-5 is always a half, whereas we've seen in the previous one, if things go south in the pistol round, then you might not even have a chance to play out that second half. So definitely not a position they'd want it to be in for sure. Grind out 1 or 2 more, that's going to be the goal. Showtime already finding the opening kill towards outside as well, as they put the deeper smokes this time all the way down so that there's no vision even being had from A main or from garage, so there's no info about what's going on towards outside. A ckzao. Oh, damn. Did he pop up on the radar before you actually seen him or something? Because that smoke was not fully gone. That was crazy.
I have no idea. Magical headshot either way. And the man advantage becomes 2. Sprout really starting to scramble now for any map control they can get their hands on. And ckzao is having none of it. ZQK with the wallbang for 1 more. And well, Spitty in the lower site as the entirety of HUMMER take upper. And again, as you look over at that economy, lauNX isn't going to be buying for himself. Spitty needs to save this. You've got raalz and Staehr who can buy for themselves. slaxz can drop 1. If Spitty can't keep his hands on this rifle, then the buy, again, just looks very ugly. Sprout won't be able to get everything they want, and it'll be another one of those half buys that we've been talking about, where they're sacrificing down to FAMASs, down to MP9s to get the utility they want. And in all reality, we've seen what HUMMER can do against full rifle buys. They need every gun they can get their hands on here. Spitty slowly being pincered in towards these vents. Dinked up ckzao, but they know where he is now. They'll start to close the gap. Tanoka low HP, but the trade is immediate. 6th round on the board. The 6th round that you said HUMMER will be happy with. 3 players kept up. And economy once again at breaking point for that CT side. HUMMER could be onto a winner here. Oh.
It was nasty, but yeah, potentially this round here could propel HUMMER towards maybe even the 10-5 half themselves. So Sprout need to ensure that they're going to find success here on what might be a somewhat limited buy. Yeah, it's only Spitty that doesn't end up with a weapon in the end. So not too bad. I mean, 1 deagle, M4s on everyone. slaxz even gets his op to work with, but he's had a slow start to this game as well, actually. slaxz's presence towards outside, especially, I guess at the moment, somewhat missing. To be fair, he's smoked off every single round, so there's not a lot that he can do. They're forced to rotate down. They do know that, of course, someone could be down secret, but I don't think they're really too sure about anyone having crossed.
Don't seem to be. Limited information with the wall of smokes. Sound cues will start to come through though. It's showtime. Danoka making a few footsteps. Flashes as well. Minute left on the clock. Sprout really with no idea what's going on here. The only info they're being given is Staehr in towards lower, calling all this util, calling these footsteps, calling the rotations. LauNX starting to make his way into the lower site. raalz following suit. The bomb is yet to commit to this, and that's the important factor here. Showtime spots out the first, deals with Staehr. The bomb is still waiting in the lobby. It is not committed to this whatsoever. They're hoping to draw more rotations, I think. The ZQK posted. They're going to look to group back up. Now, the timing on this is going to be everything. It's a split offensive at the moment, and as LauNX deals with the first, they've now got to pop out. slaxz is ready and waiting for exactly that. CT vent, he's doubled up. He baits them into the deagle of Spitty, and it starts to fall apart at the seams. HUMMER trying to get a little too tricksy with it, and Sprout are having none of it. Spitty comes in with 1 more on the deek, and that's a round stolen away. They had all the advantages in the world, HUMMER, and they just tried to be a little too clever with it.
That's something you can always get out of Sprout, especially when you have one of those bigger weapons. You have the op posed up, you have the deagle then of Spitty just tucked in, and both of them just popping off, taking 2 each. Spitty not going to do that every single round, but he has his moments, and he's always very consistent, which is something that Sprout at points do lack, at times do lack, rather. Obviously, we can't really go with the nickname as much anymore now since they're a very different lineup, but we used to call them consistently inconsistent because every game their skill level would go between insane and just stupid, just from round to round. But a slower one coming in right now. There's not much to fight with for HUMMER, so I think they were just hoping that maybe some over-aggression would be shown in the initial few seconds. Sadly, that's not the case. Staehr taps ahead, drops the smoke now, which should let him be relatively safe against these pistols, and he'll try to even maybe take another kill or 2 over the smoke before he falls back.
He's done a solid job of it so far. Seeing this one-way smoke a couple of times, it's given him a lot of room to maneuver. Everything just slowing down. HUMMER just want a peek to be given away, something to give them a kill. Sprout know they just got to get out of this round cleanly, and at the moment they're doing just that. Spitty starts to mop up the remaining kills. ckzao down to a single bullet of health. Tucks into Squeaky, hopes that somebody just walks into his crosshair looking the wrong way. It's a dink onto Spitty. Fair play to him, but the P250 won't quite find it through the corner of that vent. A 7th round on the board. HUMMER with the buy once more as they want a little more out of this half. They've felt like they've been in control on several occasions, and every time Sprout have managed just a little bit of magic to drag it back. 1 more round feels very justified for HUMMER here.
Yeah, considering the T side they've put in, I think they definitely want to try and find another. But as we said, 6 wouldn't be a bad result. It just would still leave Sprout in a position where with 9 they would be pretty happy, to be honest. I don't think they'd be displeased. Outside smokes again, not quite as deep, so they will likely focus their control. Maybe a player creeping into garage maybe Secret. The problem is Staehr is going to be actually wrapping around through Secret itself and rotated down through the vent, and has caught Showtime completely off guard, apparently.
You think it'd be impossible given how many times he's played this angle, but he catches another. delboNi now isolated as Spitty also deals with his AWPer. Early 3-on-5 for Sprout. I think delboNi has managed to thread the needle somewhat here. They're not expecting him in the backlines. The problem is there's already been multiple casualties to get him here. So in order to it to really pay off and really have value, this has to be a multi-kill. Really off angles. ckzao not expecting either. delboNi. delboNi last up. He'll find the headshot sure, but it's a 1v3. Bomb recoverable, but with just 35 seconds left on the clock, he's really got no time to waste here. They know exactly where he is already. Two players splitting control and decon. Making absolute way for delboNi to get this bomb planted. He uses the one smoke, the angles as much as possible. Plant's covered from single. Door open, however, charging through. Bomb will go down at the very least to give them a little extra money in the last round of the half, but it's going to be Sprout with an 8th as they look to recover their CT side on Nuke.
Yeah, I mean, raalz jumping for joy, literally, there. Waiting on his teammates, I think, to come down. They were salvaging everything that they can. Make sure you have the best possible weaponry, of course, going into this final round. May as well all have AKs. As you said, A6, this has been a fantastic turnaround. It seemed at one point like HUMMER were going to run up the maybe even double digits on that T side. So the fact that they were able to turn it around so drastically has been fantastic, but there's still an opportunity for HUMMER to potentially crack through and take a 7th round, which they definitely do not want to let happen. But not too bad. I mean, there's a couple of Galils in there, but at least because of that, they do actually get some utility to work with. And that is a positive. We'll see. Staehr not going to be playing Secret for once. He's actually trying to change it up, and while taking the more direct fight just straight up outside, it doesn't work for him, but he done some good damage, and then slaxz was ready from heaven on that AWP to pull off 2 kills alongside a frag from raalz that propels them into an advantageous position, but it's not a very firm one.
Spitty low on HP. ckzao though playing inside of this smoke, and raalz is still there. Still waiting. He'll get taken out for free, and they know where Spitty is. Surely they do, but they don't. ckzao, the info's not there. Not able to find the kill. lauNX will go down on an awkward spray, and it's 16 HP on 14 as ckzao charging into the lower site. Spitty has read it. Already making his way down towards that ramp, and the slowdown for the molly may well be ckzao's undoing. He's going to have to get this bomb planted. Spitty, where are you off to, buddy? He thought it was upper. I think he heard that molly in the vent and thought it was an A site molly instead of B. ckzao gets away with one. Plant will go down. Now he tucks himself into dark. Spitty doesn't have the Molotov to clear this. Both players a bullet or 2 from death. As they start to creep on in. Spitty clearing his corners. Flashbang of no use here. He needs the bullets and he knows it. Drops onto the site itself. Footsteps heard. He'll tap the bomb once. Needs to bait this peek out. Needs somebody to give him something, and they do just that. ckzao goes a little too wide. It will be 9-6 at the half. A solid recovery from Sprout, but it's going to need a lot more where that came from when we head to the T side in just a couple minutes.
still be on my feet, forget all of my fears, cause I know my destiny. I feel a chill.
An intriguing first half with everything lying in the balance here. 9-6 in favor of Sprout as they head to the T side. I'd say a fairly even split, Dean. It feels like there's not too much separating these teams at the moment.
No, I'd say the momentum definitely is shifted over towards Sprout, so especially if they can kick off their T side with the pistol round here, then they're going to be in a pretty good position. But if HUMMER can come back to life and kind of brush off how the last kind of 6 or 7 rounds or so went, then I think they should be okay. Even then, they were keeping things usually pretty competitive. It's not like they were being walked over in any of those rounds, or at least not often. So I'm expecting a close second half, one that could still really go either way here. CT is surprisingly not buying up a kit. That's going to make things a little bit more difficult if it comes down to the retake. They'll be, I guess, relying somewhat on just taking these frags right now, so they'll be looking for the early challenges, as we can see. And, well, actually, I thought they were going to maybe try and wrap in through their own smoke right there. No, instead it was the flash to fight the Nuke, and he just taps off 2 of their heads. The bomb as well being taken away. And suddenly it looks like Sprout indeed are going to be facing yet another pistol round loss.
lauNX and Spiddy to try and do what they can, but a 1-for-1 trade just isn't good enough at this point. Spiddy left in the 1v3. Know exactly where he is, know exactly what they've got to do here, HUMMER. They've got bomb at their feet. Plenty of time for Spiddy to work with, at the very least, to try and isolate some of these fights, and a dinked up ckzao. But nobody giving him anything at the moment, and there's ckzao to find the conversion. The bomb headed first into that contact, and that seemed like the immediate mistake from Sprout. Walked right into the belly of the beast. A couple of quick kills. The bomb is down in no man's land, and you've just got to question, why is the bomb the first man to walk in there? Because it just leaves it out nowhere. There's no kind of recovery. There's no plan B when your bomb is that exposed. You have got to go get it. And HUMMER were ready and waiting for him.
No force by either to come right back in, so Sprout do want to just take the safe approach, aim towards getting this gun round out as early as they can, I suppose, on the B side. lauNX tried to make his way outdoor and down vent, I think, but the molly was stopping him, gets pushed in while he's still trapped in behind the vent, and delboNi, he's also having a good time here as they push him down on ramp. Shouldn't struggle much, he hasn't so far, but now he runs out of bullets, and that makes it a lot more difficult as we can see. Oh, actually, I think ZQK was spotted. Yeah, that was a little bit weird. Staehr went back in, but he had to reload the M4, so he couldn't initially do anything about the player he spotted. And eventually just decides the USP will have to do for now, as he takes out slaxz. Yeah, that's basically what that was.
I mean, ZQK ran past a player with an M4 to get a player with a Glock, man. It's just madness. Just madness. They straight ran past each other on the ramp, and just somehow it works out perfectly. ZQK gets both kills. 9-8 the scoreline. Rifles are out for Sprout, and this is where we want to see some signs of life again. A little bit of a bonus round coming in. ZQK sticking around with that scout a little while longer. ckzao still on the FAMAS. Up against a full complement of AK-47s. If they can get this one over the line, the CT side would be well set in their early endeavors. Good round to find, potentially. Outside control taken by the smokes, already down secret. Few players headed that direction. Lower sight seems to be the intended target. And Showtime will be the first line of defense. Already slim on the utility, importantly. His smoke has dropped. He's used some of his flashes. Just one flashbang remaining, and with full secret control taken, that could be a big factor here.
Yeah, this isn't really actually a bonus round from HUMMER either, considering they don't have money on a couple of the players, so they do need to be winning this one out, ideally. They've got everything invested. Secret control, as you said, obviously taken, but it is at this point fairly well, I guess, shown over to the defenders there that it does look to be this B play, and because of that, they've already got a second player rotated down from ramp itself, took him in towards dark. Play a bait and switch, and considering there's not a lot of time left on the clock, if they can do that to successfully waste even 15 or 20 seconds, and suddenly time begins to become a real issue for Sprout. So we'll have to see now when this push commences They could, in theory, still go back up vent.
It's on Spiddy. He gets the free kill here, and that really starts to activate things. But delboNi is quick on the response, and that's the kill that was going to get them back into the A side. So they go back down to B. Showtime charging through, gives his life away 1-for-1. slaxz able to take full advantage as Staehr finds another. That should have been a guarantee. delboNi's turn should have got them the round. Instead, it's Staehr finding yet more. And Sprout somehow bailing themselves out. That has to be a misplay from Showtime. There's no two ways about it. If he stays, if he waits, if he sets the crossfire, it's a free round between him and delboNi. Instead, it's 10 on the board. The first rifle buy goes by the wayside, and HUMMER can't quite find the connection.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't quite looking at a double eco on anyone, I don't think, either. So they could have taken the one eco and then gone for a pretty good buy in this next round, but they seem to have decided to just go for it. ckzao is able to get the M4. They have a FAMAS, an auto-shotty, 5.7, a deagle, a very nice variety of weapons. No rewards for that, unfortunately. But we'll see what can be done. Definitely weapons that can be pretty useful still here on a map like Nuke. As you can see, delboNi takes his shotgun up close on Hut. Can work up close door as well, so we'll have to see if he gets a chance to actually fight anyone, because for now, Sprout looking just for outside control. I say those tracers, I think, were spotted by ckzao, so he knows they're up really close. There's 4 of them, so it might be a little bit awkward if he does try and challenge. They've actually sent 3 of them down secret, so hang on, they've just left the one lurker towards outside. That's potentially another rifle they could steal away if they deal with him quickly.
Yeah, the problem is dealing with him. He's tucked in. It's a nasty little spot. Nobody down lower either. For the CT side of things, it's going to be Showtime and ckzao to try and clear Staehr out of this. It's a right eye peek for him. He gets the first. Spraydown's awkward though. Low HP ckzao will find the trade immediately. Yep, as you said, starts to juggle those rifles around. Problem again, lower sight. Nobody really home. delboNi trying to do something, but it's an auto shotty at range against Spiddy. And as that bomb goes down without a kit, this CT side don't have too many choices remaining. Couple of players already starting to hide those rifles deep in towards CT spawn. delboNi will go hunting with the XM, see if he can get a little bit of something. Has ckzao to back him up, and Spiddy, thus far, has managed to thread the needle quite nicely. Has actually found himself the A site.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst save I've ever seen, but even then, this was the by barely being scraped together, so the fact that they're being forced now to save this over, and probably they'll force up around it again, it is a little bit worrying, because things really could start to spiral out of control for them at this point. 4 players standing for Sprout. That's what they need. They can get a drop over to Staehr pretty easily. Just keep the money balanced. The tactical pause from HUMMER. Only their 2nd so far of the game.
Can understand it, looking to slow things down. Feeling that this one's just starting to get away from them a little bit. Tripping over their own feet in the last big rifle buy they had. Not quite able to get it over the line. Now looking at the economy and starting to see some gaps. delboNi on that XM most notably. Up against 5 rifles, full utility. Sprout throwing the kitchen sink at every opportunity they're given and starting to build a little bit of bank behind it as well. Really solid spot for the T side to find themselves in. Opportunity here to put this one to bed. Head to that Ancient, which we were saying HUMMER relatively inexperienced on. Certainly a map that Sprout have far more reps in recent times. Big opportunity then to pull off this reverse sweep in the BO3. HUMMER know that it's going to have to be now if they want to get this done clean. Early utility dropped and already lacking. delboNi, though, charging in with the XM, only the one. A little unfortunate there. Thought slaxz was going to line up for him, but the trade is found.
I mean, considering it's just a shotgun, a 1-for-1 isn't terrible. Normally the T side going to be a lot happier with the 1-for-1 trade, but it's not too bad. ckzao kind of replaces him in towards the Hut as well. He won't go forward as much. He won't go quite as aggressive, rather. But he is hoping someone won't expect the 2nd player to have positioned themselves there. Only Staehr right now actually able to just control this outside area pretty much on his own. Just because every round before, pretty much when the smokes go down, Sprout have been able to just lock HUMMER out, so they're not even really looking to challenge in this round, considering they don't have nades and they're working with the weaker weapons. Just conceding it, spotting it from hell.
So QK's found one. That's a big kill from inside of the hut as well. It's forced the T side to double back. That was for a brief moment. Bomb down, but there's over-aggression. Staehr finds delboNi. ckzao goes down to slaxz, and suddenly this starts to fall apart. ZQK is alone. They know he's on this upper side somewhere, and he's caught in transition. slaxz finds it. Showtime not connecting the initial shots on the deagle either. Should spell his undoing. Manages to at least get the reload off, but nothing more than that. 12th on the board. Sprout really starting to run away with this one now. HUMMER running out of opportunities on this CT side to shut it down, to get something going their way. They look over at the economy. They're going to try and scramble a buy out of this one. A little awkward around the edges. Again, the utility is very limited. ZQK will get the AWP. delboNi drops onto the MP9 to get a little more util to work with.
Yeah, a worthwhile trade-off at this point, I'd say, considering the Nuke really the only player that has a full set of utility for them. Oh, lauNX actually beats that smoke. Unfortunately, did take some damage already from the nade that went in, so MP9 does a good job at getting the finish. He also wants the AK, though, and right now the spam is stopping him from picking it up, so that's going to be a little bit frustrating. Staehr finally caught on his outside lurk. There's Showtime takes a bit of a different approach to trying to hold on to it, taking the view above the smokes. Oh, 5-on-3. Easily the best start we've seen so far into a round here from HUMMER on their CT side. Just the best we've seen them in terms of what they'll fight in one of these rounds in general, and it still might not be enough. slaxz manages to burn one from the grave, I believe that was. Giving a bit of help to raalz now, who has to clutch out the 1-on-2.
Just chaos again. Triple kill in the round required. raalz silent drops. ZQK's bitten it. He's taken the bait. Lower site plant will be free. Starting to work it out now is ZQK. Rotating down on that orb. Spots raalz in no man's land. Knows he has him pinned. Missed shot. Flashbang will allow the escape in towards Decon. They know exactly where he is, but they've got no util. Nothing to flush him out of this angle. As that bomb slowly ticks down, this is going to get awkward. ZQK's not 100% sure he knows where raalz escaped to. So they're being very diligent on their clearances. And that's going to buy time. raalz finds the first headshot. Door shut. Time low. ZQK taps it. Wants this fight. Goes for the no-scope and won't connect it. 13. raalz with the 1v3 clutch. 13 on the board. The pause is called. This is falling apart at the seams for HUMMER. It looks so promising. That first half was so solid. Their TT side, however, has just started to trip over itself in these late moments. A big clutch comes in from raalz. It breaks the economy. 14 should be a guarantee. And from there, Ancient just starting to appear on the horizon.
Yeah, sadly, not the new one. We did explain that earlier on that we're playing on the previous patch. We haven't gone on to that one because it would be a little bit of an abrupt change, I suppose, especially if you were to play Ancient, but also with the M4 being back down to 20 bullets per mag. Definitely makes a bit of a difference. Yeah, I mean, HUMMER have kind of been quiet now for, well, first of all, this entire half, but since the, after the first kind of portion of the first half even, where they built up their foundation of 5 or 6 rounds, then they were only able to, I think it was 5 initially, then they were only able to grind out the 1 more, and other than that, it had been Sprout who really did control the momentum rather, and have carried it on into this second half, and it doesn't seem like they're slowing down, unfortunately, for HUMMER.
Yeah,
slowing
they
down
haven't won a CT rifle.
And move out a spawn.
They haven't managed to get one full CT rifle. In all honesty, they won the pistol, they won the conversion, and from there, it's just been a landslide. And now they're stewing in it. Pause comes in. Sprout take a pause on top. Pistols will be out to try and defend 14 from Sprout. One hell of a mountain for HUMMER to climb on the CT side of Nuke now if they want to make something of this one. They want to try and get it done in 2 rather than going the full distance. Full rifles, full utility again. AWP once more in the hands of slaxz. Have to imagine the Sprout will get through this one without too many troubles. They've dealt with everything that's come before, and again, they're slow into these opening moments. gradually taking the control, waiting out any aggression. Okay, ZQK, nice shot onto Staehr at the very least. The jump peak is punished. And that's a man advantage for this CT side to try and work with. delboNi tucks himself, but it's an awkward fight for him. The scout actually finds a tag. ZQK doing all he can. Dragging his team back into this one, kicking and screaming as best he's able. And Showtime is on the flank now, starting to work his way back around. If he can catch this timing again, it would be huge. Spiddy is aware, but he's got a lot of ground to cover and not a lot of time to do it.
Oh, Showtime's just going to mow down at least 2 of them. It was looking like maybe the 3 were available for the straight-up spray down, and, well, he actually doesn't manage a turret at all. It's going to be Spiddy instead who steps up for a hat-trick. I have no idea how he's managed to get away with so much, but he might just be the savior of the round. The timing there was horrible for Denoco. But lauNX didn't actually look down. I think his gun slightly blocked the vision initially. It's only now that he finally gets that info. Thankfully, before the bomb moves out on towards the bomb site and even just finishes it off with the final kill there, spotting delboNi coming out of vent. So 14-8, 2 more rounds to go for Sprout to put an end to this one, to take themselves on towards the turret map, as you said. Ancient waiting right now and pretty much calling to them. They have been near flawless on this T side here so far.
That was disgusting from Spiddy. Second chance at life and he takes it with open arms. If that spray down connects from Showtime, it's a 9th round. It's an opportunity to narrow that gap instead. 14-8 down. 6 rounds to the good of Sprout. Rifles out once again. ZQK trying to do what he can. Trying to be proactive with that AWP. Is peering through Squeak. Has been forced by the spam to drop down into the vents. As he looks to relocate and change plans. It's going to be this outside control again. Or is it? They were thinking about it. A couple of players have pushed up behind red, but the call changes at the last moment as juggling utility or HUMMER to try and buy themselves some precious more seconds on that upper site.
Slow round right now being played out either way. I think looking like they're going to set up some smokes towards outside. Not too sure they're going to move with it though. I think likely just to draw some attention away. Keep some players busy, maybe even pull rotations down into secret if they're not already in that area. We know that there is an op actually positioned down there, so keeping ZQK busy.
Yeah.
It seems like it's going to be the upper bomb site hit now. No real utility either, I don't think, for them to slow it down too much. There's a smoke, there's a flash for ckzao, but other than that, shots are just going to need to land if they want to hold this one off. And well, Sprout need to get a move on, actually, because time's beginning to become a little bit worrying. ckzao's position, if he can drop the bomb carrier even, it could be enough. The molly, though, burns him to bits up on the rafters, unfortunately. ZQK, though, up the ladder, finds a no-scope. And, well, I was going to say delboNi, with that, is given a little bit of a chance to potentially do something about it, but unfortunately, he's not able to do any more than denying the bomb plant itself before being traded out. I think the bomb plant there was burning alive either way, so I'm not too sure how much of a difference it actually made.
Chaos on the upper bomb site, but again, it's Sprout who come out on top. 15-8, 7 opportunities to take us to Ancient to decide this series. And it doesn't look like they're going to need 7 at the moment. They have looked clean at every juncture. Staehr looking for that outside control once again. No AWP this time. slaxz spots out Showtime. Can't quite land the shot. It's not a bad effort either way. Spiddy this time through the smoke finds Denoco to open things up. Early 4-on-5 once again. How many times have we said it? This CT side, it's just a colander. It's full of holes and it's leaking for HUMMER. Aggression going to be called. Showtime does find 1. Slows the play down a little bit. The aggression has been spotted in the meantime, but Showtime's able to double it. ckzao in with 1 more, and suddenly this feels viable. Spiddy has been on a tear, however, and there's low HP bars ahead of him. He opens up 1. That's the A site, not that he knows it. Opts instead to go through his own smoke out into the open. Trying to catch 1 more. Knows he needs something. Spots out ZQK. Taps away at the head of the scout. Now the no-scope from slaxz, and it's all on delboNi. Trying to push in. He's got slaxz. That's bombed down as well with 40 seconds left on the clock. Spiddy, a long way away from this situation, has got to work his way around cautiously. Doesn't have any utility to do this either. It's just going to have to be a hard clear. delboNi switching between two angles. The timing of this is going to be decisive. Spitty looking the wrong way. 9 on the board. HUMMER finally find a response on their CT side.
Yeah, perhaps a little bit too late, though. I mean, obviously, they can still fight for the overtime here on map 2, but it had been a while that they were quiet and I guess a little bit stale here on the CT side. They do actually just break the economy pretty much with a 1 round. Surprised we're not seeing the force play coming in, considering slaxz could drop over pretty much to 2 rifles if they needed them, or if they wanted to, rather. Instead, we have a bit of a pause again, unfortunately. No real pressure, I guess, for Sprout to actually call that pause in, but I guess considering they have them, and it's 15-9, they may as well use them up.
Why not?
No reason not to. Surprised they didn't force it, to be honest, considering they had slaxz was near 8,000, I think. lauNX could have just about bought for himself as well. They could have had like 3, maybe even 4 AKs.
I think they're just looking at that 6-round buffer, thinking, why not? We can try something a little cheeky this round, right? No harm, we've only got pistols. Fast pop in towards the A site, trying to split the mini player at the moment. Multiple bodies dropping onto him. There's the freebie. Anything else from here is a bonus. ckzao able to trade for 1 from up in heaven. lauNX again there with the response, though. Deagle continuing to find purchase as they're trying to thread the needle into hell at the moment, Sprout, and they are going to catch a timing. delboNi isolated. Spitty's head not quite showing through that catwalk. It is the man advantage, though, for the T side. Only problem is the bomb, which has gone out. Got lost on its way. It's ckzao well posted as well. delboNi just backing away from that heaven position, not wanting to give too much up. Looking for some cheekiness here are Sprout. slaxz trying to swing through main, trying to get a Deagle connection. Can't quite find it onto ckzao. That levels things out. And with 2 low HP players now, should be relatively smooth sailing, you say, for HUMMER. At the very least, double digits over on this CT side, unless someone pulls off a miracle. And well, Spitty, he's looked like he's capable of them so far.
Yeah, I mean, only a P250 though. Maybe if he had a bit of armor to back it up so they could steal away a weapon and it'd be useful, but only the pistols. I do not love his chances. raalz has the flank from heaven. Okay, he actually finds the initial kill. That allows for lauNX to get the trade, and they should have ckzao, but no! Spitty! How does he let him get away with that? That is not a position that should be going untraded at all.
Just had to spam it. Spam and he's done. He's stuck. He's in a corner. He's got to reload that AWP and Spitty backs away. I said he was capable of miracles. That is a drop. And let's see that he strafes out of it. That's dropped the ball. Admittedly, it's 4 kills with a half buy, right? It's not a bad look. We're slandering on it like, oh, they should have won that. But it was pistols against full rifle buys. So, to be honest, it was a good result regardless. Rifles now come out and are available for Sprout. Warp in the hands of slaxz. A couple of Galils, though. raalz and Staehr, despite saving the previous, not quite able to do the math. Can't quite get it added up. And again, HUMMER setting their early angles. Missed shot from ckzao as he looks to flick down. They've sussed out the position of the AWP at the very least, Sprout, and not taking too much damage for it either.
Oh, not too bad. I mean, ckzao actually got spammed up a little bit, so they've come out on top of that early exchange of damage. Side smokes again, just keep the pressure on. Showtime gets flashed in to try and find out what's going on towards outside, and actually does catch Staehr. ckzao gonna take 1 quick kill on the ramp as well. Should be just looking to try and fall back and stay alive, although he decides that's not really the play right now. It stuck around to help the delboNi in hell, and at least with that was able to ensure the trade.
raalz and Spitty left up to see what they can get done. They know where a few of these players are. The problem is they're not being given any fights now with just 30 seconds left on the clock. Everyone's turtling for this CT side, giving them nothing to work off as they start to clear their way in towards A. delboNi up on top of Hut. ckzao behind him, leaves his side exposed. delboNi does well to trade his man, and Showtime will pick off the last. That gap's starting to get a little narrow now, Dean. Just 4 rounds in it. half buy to follow for Sprout. You can start to see it happening, can't you? You can start to smell OT.
Yeah, it's very doable. I mean, as you said, this is the half buy here. Gun round comes out, and the next, if that doesn't work, suddenly it's 13 for HUMMER, and it's only, what, one more full gun round for Sprout, depending on whether the bomb goes down or not. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a rough spot for them to be in, for sure. Good nades here, though, alongside their pistols. Sprout, though, not too many more chances, as I was saying, for the actual finish. Maybe they can do it with pistols, though. It was not a bad entry. Spitty on the Deeg as well manages to catch one. And at the very least, they made it slightly expensive. I think one more kill would have maybe actually done some damage to the buy here. The guns maybe of HUMMER, but sadly the 2 kills won't really be enough to affect anything.
Not a bad result, but again, HUMMER able to hold on. And it does feel like they're holding on by a thread here. There is no real dominance. It doesn't feel like they're cleaning up the half buys any better than they are the full buys. It's everything is a struggle, everything is a task, but at the moment at least they seem to be up to that challenge. 3 more rounds to force the OT to keep it going, and ZQK again is the catalyst to it. Warp down the ramp, finds the opening. Spitty goes down, and this time it's uncontested. Early 5v4 to work with for this CT side, and that's exactly what they need. It's been sketchy, but they are starting to string them together now. Showtime the next to be checked. He's tucked close. Surely they clear this angle. Surely. ZQK gets a second for free. Staehr is not looking the right way at all, and that means his and lauNX's demise. slaxz is left last up. They've probably only got one more rifle buy after this, Dean, and they are starting to fall apart, Sprout.
Yeah, I think they're... Yeah, maybe like in the middle of falling apart at this point. I'd say a few rounds back was the start of it. I was trying to find the way to put it right there. A nice clean kill by delboNi as well to close it out in the end. Not even really much of a challenge being given in these last couple of gun rounds, unfortunately. Overlooking a pretty massive position there from Showtime as well. Not the most common spot, but it's played most games at some point. So I am a little bit surprised that they didn't clear it out.
It's a common clear, isn't it? It's one you'd... If you're taking Garage, you would expect a professional team to clear it. Slight oversight from Sprout is their undoing, though, and they're back on the pistols once again. Not to say that that's really had any impact on their success rate. These pistols have been fantastic for them on the T side. slaxz, the only man still on a Glock. He'll look to have an AWP into the last round if they can't get it done here. Deagles and Tech 9's the order for the remaining T-side players. Again, a relatively passive start by both. HUMMER happy to hold their ground. Rotating that AWP of ZQK out towards outside, initially holding Garage, now working his way back into ramp and allowing for some relief as he heads actually down to the lower site itself. 4 players still queued in towards Hut for this T-side. And an APOP feels viable. They've had a few of these. They've had a lot of success with the ones they've pulled. And they've got the utility to plan it out as well. The clock starts to run low. A few kills on this site are going to be needed if HUMMER are to have any chance here. They've got bodies. Showtime just starting to clear his way down, though, into the lower site. denoco starts to cut a very lonely figure up on A. With just 30 seconds left, Sprout are doing such a good job. They're giving no info. They're keeping everything quiet until the last possible moment when they will look to pounce. This 2-man A-holder's got to get it all done. The utility is decent. The molly's even better for the CT side. That buys them a lot of room to work with. 20 seconds. They charge into the flames. The trades are good. denoco sprayed out is even better. delboNi there to back him up. And the Glocker slaxz won't find anything. 15-14 when we are 1 round away from OT. 1 rifle buy from what would be a truly spectacular comeback from HUMMER.
Yeah, it was a very slow round as well, the way they played it out, only to pretty much be obliterated once they finally do start trying to push through. The last of the tactical pause is now being used by Sprout as well. What is their last full buy of regulation time here. You have their up at least for slaxz. He's been kind of quiet though ever since the first map where he really popped off. Didn't get going. Well, sorry, he never really got going in those two either. But I meant to say first half where he had a few rounds where he popped off. There we go. Finally got it out. Spiddy's on 29 kills. I think he slowed down massively though as well, because he was on like 26 and like mid-teens in terms of deaths or something as well, from what I can remember. So he also hasn't really been as present here on their T side so far. But Staehr catches ZQK around the edge of that outside smoke. Wanted to see if he could alleviate some of the pressure in the early moments of the round for the CT side. Instead now, it has put them backs against the wall, with everything relying on this round after what has been such an impressive comeback as well.
That's a huge loss. ZQK has been the catalyst of so much of the success for HUMMER. Goes down early, an ambitious flick, not quite connecting. And again, the lower site is going to be the target. 3 bodies here, denoco alone to hold it. raalz starts to clear it, spotted out, but denoco can't hit the initial shot, and he hasn't got the utility. Can't do anything about the contest. slaxz actually waiting for this exact push, reads it like a book. The man advantage becomes 2, and showtime. We need a show from you here, mate. Nice headshot for 1. That is bombed down, but again, he peeks wide, and slaxz is again there to punish. 2 on 4. delboNi has made it to the lower site. His teammate's still in towards the hut itself, and he's being flanked out all the while by Spiddy, who's actually managed to clear A. They're going to double back straight into this. And ckzao is in a decent place to deny this whole thing. The spray down only good for the 1, though, and that won't be enough. delboNi's on the lower site. It's a 1v3. Agonizingly close to this comeback, but he's got to come up those vents. He's going to play whack-a-mole with 3 T-side players. They'll be watching for this. They'll be waiting for it. Or will they? They've let him up. Nobody's spotted him yet, and that's actually giving him a little bit of confusion, but it will be 16-14. Sprout get it done by the skin on their teeth. They take Nuke, and Ancient will be up in just a few moments.